Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Happy tomorrow. Happy tonight, wherever you are. Ooh, I'm off center. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. How are you guys? Welcome to all of my subscribers. Welcome to, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and get subscribed. I have updated all of my descriptions for videos, just so you know. So there are included links to all of my social media. So if you're not following me on social media, you can now find those in the description, and they will be in the description for every video moving forward, as well as a link to join the channel if you are interested in supporting our channel or the channel so that we don't have to rely so much on AdSense and can deliver you content that isn't always favorable to YouTube and restricted. So, and the dogs are completely passed out behind me. You can see them. And they're going to talk about some tea related to the Welcome to Plathville. So, we are going to talk about Welcome to Plathville. The show is not on the air right now. It actually ended the first season. It's not known whether or not a second season will be coming forward. But the show introduced us to a family that's part of the Quiverful movement, similar to the Duggars, the Bates, other families that follow the Institute of Basic Life Principles, and Debbie and Michael Pearl. Yeah, all that great stuff, right? And the family lives in Georgia, in rural Georgia. They, at the time, were living on a farm where they had lived for most of their children's lives. 55 acres. The kids are homeschooled. The kids have limited access to technology. They're not allowed to eat sugar. They are not allowed to eat processed foods. They don't have friends. According to Ethan, the oldest son, and his daughter-in-law, they did not have a regular church that they went to because their family could never find the right church that fit their views. Kim, the mother, claims to be a naturopath, yet she has no credentials that we could find. And therefore, she's probably just pushing some woo-woo. Father Barry has a job where he drives into Tallahassee every week and every day, and he gets to deal and have the real world, but the kids do not. And the mother is on her phone a lot on the show. She's watching YouTube, she's got social media, she's got all kinds of access to the real world, but she does not allow the same access to her children, which for some of the kids has left them feeling a little bit isolated, a little bit irritated, a little bit controlled. And the show really focused on Moriah and her sort of 17-year-old Moriah and her desire to want to break free from the family, and her help from her sister-in-law, Olivia, her brother's wife, who also was a part of the same Quiverful community and has left that along with Ethan. They have completely abandoned the legalist aspects, and they no longer follow the Institute of Basic Life Principles. And Olivia has been open on social media about how her relationship with her mother-in-law has been strained because of her not believing in the same things, and Kim's belief that she is wrongly influencing her children. Okay? So there's been a lot of stuff going on with social media, and Moriah, the 17-year-old, has been kind of stuck in the middle because she is the square peg in a round hole. She does not follow the same belief systems as her family. She wants to dress and be normal. Her family wants her to be modest and follow the modesty world of the Quiverful life. So it's been sort of a heartbreaking story watching Moriah try to break free from her mother's control and from the very toxic belief systems that are implemented by the Institute of Basic Life Principles. So yesterday on Instagram, she shared this, and it's actually this literally tugged at my heart reading this, realizing exactly how isolated she feels and how far away from the world she feels. And she said, looking back at a year ago from today, I was grounded. I was miserable. I locked myself in my closet to drown out the noise of all the silence around me. I felt like nobody in the world could ever understand what it felt like to be that alone. Not really abandoned, but nobody knew I was there in the first place. That part kills me. Nobody knew I was there in the first place. Imagine locking yourself in the closet because it's so quiet around you, but all it feels like is massive amounts of noise. That literally tugs at my heartstrings as a mama. I felt so lost. I hated where I was in my life and made a resolution to change that. I wanted nothing more than to be far away, wild and free. And as the clock changed, I played my favorite song that I've loved since I secretly listened to it on the radio. Because again, they could not watch or listen to the radio or watch TV. Road Less Traveled by Lauren Elena. When it first came out in 2015, I was 12, and it was the first country song that stuck with me and would end up being one of the biggest things to hold onto when there was nothing else. I didn't sleep at all that New Year's morning, and I never would have guessed that when I sat outside on top of my dad's barn 1 year ago, watching the sunrise on a New Year's Day, that 1 year later, I'd be where I am today. One hell of a mess, enjoying life, making mistakes, falling down, getting back up, struggling more than I have before in life, becoming a stronger girl, going through things I've seen others go through, and I've said, if I ever had to do that, I don't think I could make it. You never do know how strong you can be until being strong is the only choice you've got. I don't want to turn to freedom like it's going to solve all of my problems. It's not, but God, I'll do anything for it and to keep it. And then she continued, this one's going to be a good one. No, not the girl in the picture up there. By the way, it is me. And it is a photo of her from the back with her waist down, which is me, by the way, but the year. This year is not going to be perfect, but it's going to be perfectly awesome. I also can't say how proud I am of Olivia, and I will never be able to thank her enough. A huge role model for me and so many others. She's one amazing, strong woman. 2 black hearts are better than 1. I love you, Olivia. And she often puts black hearts on things, which is actually so heartbreaking. Think of that. She's 17 years old, and she can't even be happy that's a black. She feels like her heart is black because her family makes her believe that wanting to live in the real world and have real things and real friends and real community and experience life makes her feel different, which breaks my heart. And there was a lot of comments of support in her on this post. I love you, Moriah, your precious soul, and I'm forever thankful for you and your friendship. I know the last year was tough, but this year is going to be better, and if it gets rough, I will be right here. Love this and you are so strong. But this one I actually thought was pretty telling. She said, I've learned there are 2 kinds of freedoms, freedom of the physical and freedom of the soul. I was trapped for 17 years in a controlling and psychologically abusive relationship, so I understand your yearning to be free in both ways. It makes my heart swell to see you taking control of your life. Keep going, beautiful girl. And Moriah responded, I love that. What you said is so true. We need both freedoms, and honestly, sometimes they can be mixed up. I don't see every comment, but I needed this one. Thank you. So basically, she's acknowledging that she feels like she has been psychologically abused by her parents and trapped for 17 years at her home. And I imagine that this is a similar feeling to other people that are coming from these types of backgrounds. Now, I'll tell you something really neat here, is that I have a subscriber named Jamie, and she actually comes from, she's a former Mennonite, and she has openly messaged with me and shared with me like all of her life and leaving, and she's been pretty active in sharing on Moriah's page. And I saw this comment by Jamie, and I thought it was like really telling. So Jamie, you're awesome. By the way, thank you for continuing to use your voice and your experience, because what she shares here I think is pretty good. She says, not disagreeing exactly, but I'll tell you about myself and my spouse. I was raised more like Olivia. My husband was raised more identically to Ethan and the Plath children. Of course, his parents loved him, but the fear-based parenting and religious abuse completely backfired. I'll try and keep this short as possible. Their Mennonite ways of fear-based extreme parenting was a huge disservice to the kids when they reached their late teens and even into adulthood. My husband is the one who broke away, so he's the black sheep of the family. The overstepping of boundaries after marriage and children it never ends. As Kim and Barry have done with Olivia and Ethan, that's a huge deal breaker. Sometimes family can be the most toxic people in your lives. Breaking away isn't always bad. If someone is constantly going to continue to be unsupportive, overstepping, pushing their beliefs, it doesn't matter who they are. Sometimes it's healthier for oneself to cut ties. It's been 19 years since we left the Mennonite church and 10 years since we finally had to cut ties with my in-laws. My mother-in-law passed away a few years ago, and my husband actually felt a sense of relief along with some natural sorrow. People always tell the children that they should be reaching out and continuing the effort and playing the game, or you better think about living without your parents type comments. When in my opinion, the parents should also be very, very careful in how they treat their especially grown children. Do they not stop to think about losing the relationship with their children or grandchildren? There's a lot of different things to consider in each individual family situation. I know there are many inaccuracies that they've shown viewers. Example, Olivia had permission to get those tickets. Sometimes fostering a very toxic, mentally abusive relationship is not best, family or not. I'm not saying I grew up like this and after 10 years of playing the Mennonite game for my in-laws and never being good enough and always being judged, it was best for our core family to go our own way. It's the best decision we could have made for ourselves and our child. She's been actually pretty instrumental in helping me understand a lot about this, because she grew up a lot like this, and she said her husband grew up a lot like this, and I think that's pretty I think that's a good point for Moriah to remember, that just because these are her parents and this is her family, if they're willing to put their very controlling beliefs onto the children, and they want to use that control even as they turn and become adults, that it can become really challenging for the adult children to feel like they have their own voice and have grown up. I think we're starting to see this in some of the older Duggars. There's definitely been some separation from some of the older Bates children. And I think when parents steadfastly hold onto these fundamental beliefs and put that in front of the relationships with their children, this huge divide can happen, and people feel like their only choice is to walk away and separate because there's no way of getting through. So I hope that more people like Jamie continue to share their stories with Moriah and with Olivia to offer them encouragement and support, so that they know that they're not alone, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that there is healing beyond where they came from. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are about this, and if you are happy to see what my subscriber Jamie shared, and if you think that Moriah is going to finally break free. She'll be able to leave the house in August if she wants to. She'll be 18. So tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Also, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Ring the bell for notifications. And make sure you check out all of my social media and follow me there so you know when I go live. All right, you guys, I'll be back later with more.